Ladies and gentlemen, Jenna Sears.
Hello everyone, happy Saturday. I hope you're staying warm and dry. My name is Jenna Sears. I'm a local poet in Bloomington and also a public school teacher during the day. I'm going to share a couple of poems that I recently wrote. The first one being a reflection of my time. I just moved back to the United States recently from Ireland, where I've been living for the last year and a half. And this is a poem reflecting on some of the cultural differences as I navigate rural Ireland. It's called Which Way Does a Compass Point? Everyone in Ireland owns a dog, which is to say, I am an outlier. Which is to say, I've been an outcast throughout my peripheral recollections of existence. I walk with crooked toes, which is to say, I'm ready to leave at any point in time. And that, when you tell me I look beautiful, I will chew over those words, savoring each phoneme until I go to bed with kernels of the sentence still stuck in my teeth. Which is to say, I scruple over unspoken sentences, which is to say that my heart is quilted quite poorly because my grandma forgot to teach me to sew. Which is to say, I've always dreamed of crafting sentiments into people's eyes and hands, but I can't seem to perfect the blueprints. Which is to say, I'm scared of being lonely far more than being unloved. My next poem comes from my latest book, Wanderer. It's called Benediction. I am who I am. Queer markings and affinity for apricot yogurt rooted in folklore. Barcodes of faces to scan and smile at. I am stumbling because I was not told the road would be uneven. I brought only dress shoes, the sleek kind that sing when you walk. Trembling like eager toddler limbs, I am a sojourner. Bless the road I will rise up to meet. This next poem comes from a slam series that I do about working as a public school teacher and all of my events for how teachers and students in that system are treated. It's called Comprehensive Makeup Exam. They teach us that we need to fight for our resources. We are veterans of broken standards, weary ivory keys, and heavy souls. Yet my grades and punctuation are crystallized in perfection, anticipation towards teaching to the invisible perfect children whom I'm told one day I'll meet. Yet when concrete hits my feet, I am met with the impact that perfection sits in a cage of illusion. Perfectly imperfect, perfectly privileged to sit in our glass dome and view the world outside like a roaring circus. The pages, words, labeled as wisdom, experience, weathering the storm. When the truth is, we are still embedded in the imprisonment of our snow globe. Rarely are there visitors in this preserved, pristine condition. Those travelers, like me, are jeered at. Furtive condemnation seething like an unsoothed itch. I crave truth like an elixir. And yet I am tousled by the duplicity of knowledge. This next poem I wrote in response to the overturning of Roe v. Wade this summer. It's called Bleach. There is a stain on my sheets. There is a stain rising through the ripples of my legs to the thickened beat of an internal drum, writhing in conflict with its own rhythm. Crimson spiderwebs pool and spill, embracing the crevice of my thigh. There is a stain on my dress. I panic and bolt to the bathroom, where I cry so hard I hope that all the liquid that was once me would flush away. There is a stain on my seat, where I shake with ferocity. I am cold and anxious, waiting for the train to stop to lead me to a doctor who will tell me that my parts are not mine enough to do what I need, but mine enough to endure. There is a stain on my country, and both it and I are scoffed at by figures whose sheets are not scrubbed thin from internal dissonance and dormant revolutions. This next poem is another slam poem about my relationship with my mother, my relationship with, recently in the last year, coming out as non-binary, and our shared love for Chicago, where both of us grew up. It's called My Mother's Daughter. Soft light hits the red bricks of her childhood home. My small hands reach up around the faux leather car seat and allow me to peer out the window at my mother's nostalgia. Poppy seeds graffiti the crevices of my teeth, and the faint thrum of a hip-hop beat pulses in the euphoric dusk. These memories suspend in my head like a silent film, transparent and evocative. In the passing years, I reminisce in the elusive scent of cigarettes and paint that seem to waft through the essence of the city. I am my mother's daughter. A mother whose resilience resembles the biting winters Chicago can brew. A child of forced educational policies through politically gritted teeth. Of children, black and white, mindlessly swapping schools like an administrative round of Connect Four, fast and with disregard to the players. I am my mother's daughter. A mother whose will to better herself stemmed from the diverse ideas and persons around her. A mother whose love is tough and endless. A fighter, a survivor. I see the soft glow of her auburn-bricked homes in the way she smiles and for the love she carries. And because of this, I too hold that compassionate burden in my heart for that windy city. 4 years of dormant living, and I return to this point. A chrysalis of poetry and a new genesis of poet. I am my mother's child. A daughter through historical ties, but a mosaic in the flesh. A mother who colors the air with pronouns she cherishes because they are mine, despite her not always understanding their full figure. A mother who raised me in love alongside another loving mother, who have pushed me to grow into my words, to love a little louder, to burn a little brighter, and never apologize for the space myself holds. A mother who showed me how to love the queer parts of Chicago she could not explore. A mother whose love for that city showed me that there are not limits to where and who home can be. I am my mother's child and daughter, and I am thankful for the journey of these words because I have gotten to learn from her and love her along the way. Thank you. This next poem is also of the same title of a piece that's actually in the Backspace Gallery at Bonfet right now. It's called My Queerness is Full of Color. My queerness is full of color. It is vibrant and honest. It connects to the earth because my body is natural. My queerness is curious, and I often find myself focusing on parts of my body as a kaleidoscope of gears, whose functions feel powerful and yet sometimes foreign. I am masculine and feminine and neither all at once. My queerness cries a lot. It says, I love you after every phone call because it knows too well that there are limited moments to say these things. It laughs in the way that cuts air like glass. My queerness holds you tight and folds you in. It loves with planted roots. My queerness is without tension, yet bold. It's a stained glass window so intricate in pattern and color, yet warm with enveloped light. It will ask you the questions you crave to hear and have waited so long to answer. It will rock you to sleep because you're safe here, because you're vibrant here. My queerness does not look the way you think it should. It wears dresses and pantsuits and holds curvaceous hips that swish with each step. My queerness is sacred. because it belongs to my skin. My queerness is the friend that holds you accountable to call your loved ones to take the day off, because no work is more valuable than joy or peace. My queerness is kissing your friends on the forehead and holding their hands as we walk home from the bar. It knows intimacy is welcome in all its forms. It's loving until you've gone. It's checking in on those along the way. It's summer sun and laughter that sounds like thunder and tender nights. It's good food and better people. It's unabashed in its truth. My queerness, it's the only truth I know. Thank you so much. I want to do 3 poems from my new book, Wanderer. They're called In Utero, and they explore the relationship between our bodies and the water. The water was unsettlingly warm for that November evening, where the goosebumps on their body stood at attention, paralyzed by the contrasting rooms of heat. They dipped each leg in like a rose, uncurling its bud, until their whole body was waiting in the turquoise. Little figures in crimson shorts stood like faded dots against the bank of concrete. The smells of chemicals were pungent and sweet. Submerged and weightless, they let their arms do what they've known to do 25 years prior. This is In Utero 2. The tub is too small for the body mess of 2 sets of adult limbs. And the warm water that laps against our skin like a frothy tide seems to lull me into a gentle rhythm. I feel your hands holding the frame of my back, tracing fingers against canvas of flesh. We sway, moved by the gentle current of calming waters. In Utero 3. This road that leads me down a winding path, bare legs. My figure is a silhouette of black, lacy underwear and dampened sand. I see the onslaught of faces, painted with interest or horror, or a vague constellation of the two. I am dripping freely on the pavement, the salt remnants of ocean still clinging to my skin. The air is thick with the smell of bubblegum ice cream from the local parlor a few blocks down. I can hear the incessant drumming of the commuter rail, tracks revving in the distance as if to lure me into the evening's lullaby. The water is an oasis from the calamity of heat. Slightly warm and tingling from the hastily sipped booze, I feel the urge to plunge myself into the sea once more and feel its arms caress me with urgency. I crave being rocked with fervor, to feel myself diluted, particle by particle, wave by wave, until I am dust. Thank you very much. I want to do 2 more poems. This is another one from my book, Wanderer. It is in memory of Rob Stilwell, who was a poetry professor in Columbus, and was one of the first people I worked with who was willing to sit down and read my poetry, and he was a man just full of love and words. So this is in memoriam. He was kind like a cup of tea. Sweaters on a chilled day, he tinkered with words until they delighted him, then gently placed them on shelves lined with literary relics. He hated breakfast, which made me laugh, and he trusted me to hear his poems and convert him to coffee. His teeth were slightly crooked, and he talked to his flowers like old friends. He was kind, and knew the last 50 pages of Anna Karenina by heart. I will miss him very dearly for these things, and for the shared love of words he gifted me. The last poem I'd like to read today is called Murakami. I have a very dear friend of mine who is obsessed with Murakami's books, and her friendship has been something I cherish so much. I digested the words slowly, chewing them carefully because they belonged to your heart. My eyes scaled the landmine of rhetoric, and I am torn. A sinner settled amongst converts. I tussle with the flawed scrambling of flesh dissected into binary quiltings. Perhaps I'm a shapeshifter through forms and cannot grasp the lanes he paints. Is this how the world paints itself for you? Or do we stem from wandering sceneries? I saw your paintings, and they made me blush, and pray within myself to have you cradle my hands like the ones tethered to your canvases, and shape me until I unfold myself from my origami form. Thank you very much. If you enjoyed any of what you hear, I will be at the Poetry on Demand desk for the next couple of hours. You can actually go into the Backspace Gallery, so Bonfette over on the square, and buy a copy of my book. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day.